Hey everyone, so I know you guys are on a quest to get the magic sword for the king and his whole right to the family and everything, but I was thinking before you do that, in the meantime, if you could go rescue my sheep from the cave nearby for like...
Hey, yo, Chief, let me stop right there, because this shit sounded like a motherfucking side quest. No, I'm not doing that shit. Nah, because last time you had us get the stupid fucking spear from the tree, and then we had to give the fucking spear back. We didn't get to keep it. It was magical. And then there was the fucking war horse that everybody wanted, and they were like, no, it's got a bill of sale on it. If you steal the horse, then you're gonna get hung for horse stealing. No, I'm tired of this shit.
What if I give you 10 gold for the sheep?
You're really lucky I want that adamantine armor. All right, fine.
Nice. Welcome back. It's been a mighty 2 weeks. On the dot, I think. We returned. 'Tis I, Josh, and 'tis Isaiah.
It me.
Okay. I thought you said it me in such a fashion that I thought there was gonna be a follow-up statement there.
None.
And then you just left me dry. High and dry like a side quest.
God damn it. I mean, what was you expecting me to pull like a, hey, they're demons, it's me, your boy. Skinny penis, like, what did you?
Yes, that's what I was kind of hoping.
Or did you want a Shadow Wisdom Money gang? Like,
I would have taken either one, to be honest.
Nice.
So yes, we're back, and I thought it might be fun to talk about motherfucking side quests. Because that's the thing a lot of people do in their games. And I had another sentence there, but I'm gonna ignore that sentence because I can't remember it. Anyway, before we continue forth, take a moment, say hi to Jesus, and also maybe press the subscribe or follow button on your platform. Fuck.
Was that my fault?
A little bit, yeah.
Nice.
Follow or subscribe on the platform you're currently listening on, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I don't know what an energy we started with. We can only go up from here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah. So as is tradition with me, something in my immediate vicinity spurred on this idea of talking about side quests. But this time it's a little bit of a combination of things. Partially the thought came from our current personal game that I am running. But also the other thing that spurred this thought on is I, like the rest of the world, have been playing Baldur's Gate 3. And as you might imagine, anyone who's played a Larian game, there's a lot of fucking side quests. Because Larian likes to do side quests. Or just quests in general. Not that, honestly, though, they don't... Well, actually, no, Baldur's Gate 3 does make it a bit of a distinction. But, they just throw a lot of quests at you, and they don't necessarily tell you which ones are, more or less important, per se. But yes, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, like the rest of the internet. And the idea came to me in a dream. And that dream had Sven, I can't remember his last name's face, telling me to speak of the quests. He has a complicated last name. He's a Swedishman. So yeah. That's where we're at. We're going to talk side quests. The other idea I that we were going to potentially talk was also spurred on by Baldur's Gate 3. So, it's occupying a lot of my brain space.
I don't actually have Baldur's Gate 3, audience. I have to suffer. But even if I did have the money, I'd be spending it on my fucking Armored Core. Armored Core? Armored Core. So, that's just me.
Vink? Chink? Vavink? I don't know how you're supposed to say this man's last name. This is not important. Also, he's Belgian. Sorry. It's in Swedish. He's Belgian. Wait, no. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. What am I doing? This is unwise. All that being said, any thoughts before I go ranting further?
Do I have any thoughts?
Anything that just immediately tickles your grundle?
I mean, I would like a tickle at the grundle. No, I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to see where you're going with this. Like, I saw what you wrote down in our episode notes, but like, I want to hear your extrapolations.
Okay. All right. So, then I guess we start with some definitions. Yeah. Because what doth be a side quest? If you're someone who plays a lot of video games, particularly open world video games, the question of what is a side quest is going to seem kind of inane and stupid. Like, why are you bothering asking? Everyone knows the answer to this. But for the sake of everyone being on the same page, and also because I do think there can be a little bit of a difference. Let's just define what we're talking about here. So the way I describe it, and Isaiah, you can tell me if you have a differing definition. I describe a side quest in a game as any kind of quest that an NPC would give you as the players. So, you know, the GM via whatever NPC asks you to do some sort of quest, generally smaller than the main thing, although not necessarily. But the main thing is a quest given to you by an NPC other than the primary quest giving person that you're usually interacting with, and is generally asking you to accomplish something that's sort of extra or out of the way or not entirely related to the main plot line. So, as an example, generally the party of PCs who work for Lord Darkomon, you know, they get their quest. Lord Darkomon says, I need you to head to the next town over to go deal with the Banshee incursion because everyone's getting killed by ghosts. I don't know why I thought Banshees. And on your way to the next town over, trying to achieve your quest from Lord Darkomon, who you have already done several quests for, you run into Jim the farmer, who asks you, hey, also, could you maybe like rescue my daughter who's been kidnapped in town? Because, well, the whole Banshee problem's going on. There's also bandits who are sort of, taking advantage of the situation. So rescuing the daughter, not related to the main Kill the Banshee quest situation, and is from a different NPC who you are not normally interacting with. They are sort of a side character giving you a side quest. That's generally how I define it.
Interesting. Well, so, you know, I know what you meant to say, like what you described, but I would almost call that thing where it's like, okay, you have the plot, right? Like you have the main mission, and then you have one that sort of coincides with it and goes along the same path. I would almost call that something other than a standard side quest. Because to me, a side quest is like, hey, I know this is busy, but like, can you go milk my cactus, you know? And then you're like, well, shit, what time is it? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, is that not out of the way though? And like, it's not part of the primary objective.
No, but it's one of those, oh, we can get that done while we're on the way, you know?
Yeah, but aside, well, this is kind of, I was going to get to this point. A side quest doesn't necessarily have to be, it can be along the way. It doesn't have to be like it. If you're going north, the side quest doesn't have to be east. The side quest can be northeast, or the side quest can be along the path to the north. It's just something extra on top of what you were already potentially doing that is not necessarily intrinsically related. Like, I don't think it has to be explicitly way out of the fucking way. And in fact, I was going to bring this up later, but like making it way explicitly out of the way, I think in a tabletop setting is often highly irritating and is one of the reasons that side quests get a pretty negative connotation in the tabletop space quite a lot. On top of the fact that I think anyone who's played a lot of video games where questing is a thing, again, particularly when you're talking about the open world space or open world games, side questing has gotten a very negative connotation because it's sort of annoying busy work that's way out of the way of what you were gonna do instead, but you feel compelled to do it.
Like, that is fair. I hadn't really like. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Like they are both side quests. It's just sort of one is less infuriating.
Right. So that's the thing. Yeah, because I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, well, if it's a side quest, in your brain, you're like, no, the side quest is Lord Darkomon told us to go to this town, and then Farmer Jim told us to go to a completely different town to go do some other bullshit that nobody cares about. That's a side quest. And it's like, that is absolutely a way to do it. But yes, one of those is way more annoying than the other and is going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, well, I'm gonna we'll hone down more into if you read ahead a little bit, we'll hone down more into this later. Mm-hmm. But that's but so my baseline definition though, you feel like checks out for you generally?
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, so with that established, the other thing I want to bring up real quick is we're mostly in this particular scenario, we're going to be talking about like a campaign where you're doing a more linear story for two reasons. One, all of us who are currently running a game, which is to say me, Isaiah, and Matt, we're all doing linear story campaigns, or at least they have become that later on. In Isaiah's case, it was not necessarily intended that way, but it became that.
Yeah.
So we're tackling it from the space of the thing we're currently running, but also because when you get into a sandboxy, hex crawly, Elden Ringy style game, the conversation of like side quests or main quests or like how quests are even handled is like a totally different beast, and I think is its own episode worthy, really, because you could basically make an argument that in a game like Elden Ring, for example, there are no side quests. Right? Everything is just a quest and you just decide whether you care or not to do it, right? Like it's not like it's not really a thing. Like there is technically a sort of main quest objective thing, but like everything you do along the way is kind of up to you whether you give a shit about it or not for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in something like Elden Ring, nothing really feels out of the way because the goal is sort of vague and transient. It's like, what is really the goal for you?
Yeah, and it's open, and how you get there, and what NPCs you pay attention to or give a shit about, you know.
It's almost like an Elden Ring is your goal to become the Elden Ring or to cause incredible violence?
Yeah, well, it's
neither
like,
are wrong.
You know, like you could make the argument that the Ronnie quest line is a side quest, but nobody thinks of it or talks about it that way because people gave a shit and were invested, and it was just sort of part of the milieu that you were existing in, so it doesn't feel like any kind of particular weird out of the way thing. And that's a, you know, again this is a little down the list, so I should bite my tongue a little bit, but like that's another reason The Witcher 3 gets talked about a lot in this particular regard. But yes, so we're mostly talking about linear story style game. So something where you're intending your players to go from point A to point B and sort of follow a main primary objective. And everything will more or less relate or tie in or foreshadow or whatever to the primary objective. Doesn't have to, obviously, but you know, that's sort of that's kind of the baseline assumption. And then you tweak things as you go, as is always the case. So, I mean, I guess, well, okay, so here's the question, because one of the things I posited is, how do you make side quests not annoying, which is kind of what we were already talking about. But then the thing I had in order was, why bother doing side quests in your game? So I guess which one of those do you want to tackle first?
Well, I think I have more direct answers to the former on that one.
How to make side quests not annoying?
Yeah, because it's actually a pretty, like,
okay,
in my opinion, what I feel like is a pretty simple equation.
Okay, so we'll go off on that. We'll go out of order. We're breaking the rules. Breaking the law.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
All right, go off.
So, okay. And this is from experience as a player and experience as a DM. If you're going to have a side quest, you have 3 main rules of thumb, right? Either put big thing in front of them to take, right? Put treasure there, because they'll go, you know, there's a lot less bitching when you get adamantine armor out of it, right? 2, don't make it out of the way, right? Make it something that you can do while the players are heading towards their main goal. And 3, If it's neither of the first two, make not everything, but make it generally cooperative. Don't put really fussy, annoying, combative NPCs or enemies, or like, don't make the the trap dungeon you had in mind. Like, you have to stop and think about it from a player who's not the designer, because then you'll start to realize that you're accidentally putting moon logic in it, and then you'll go, oh, I see, maybe I should tone that down. So either worth it, along the way, or user friendly.
So if I could rephrase that last one a little bit, don't have your deep political intrigue in the side quest.
It's not even the deep political intrigue. It's just, if you really like the idea of the asshole merchant, don't put it in the side quest. Because I guarantee you, your players are already like giving it maybe 70% of their overall interest that they would be otherwise. And then having a fucking...
Oh, okay.
Having a merchant who was going to lie to them for no reason, if not for like a DC 18 persuasion check because they feel like being an asshole and you look like a weirdo, I
see. You're saying because they're already likely to be less invested in the side quest, making it extra annoying in comparison to their main objective will make them even further less invested, and ergo make them just say fuck it completely, most likely.
Yeah. So make it worth it, efficient, or friendly. Maybe not friendly, but
it does. Not friendly, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be so many steps of like. I know what you mean, and now I'm having a hard time trying to rephrase it. Like, it shouldn't be the kind of thing where, okay, this is going to sound like a goofy comparison, so maybe bear with me here. It shouldn't be the thing where Mario gets to the castle and then Peach is in another castle 5 times in a row.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that's not a side quest anymore. That's way bigger of an investment, and that's just really annoying. And at a certain point, if it's not part of the main objective, you're giving your players less and less reason to give a shit. Like, why would they care? At a certain point, they're just gonna be like, you know what? Peach and Bowser can go have fun. I'm busy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. This is something that happened to me. It was in one of the games I was playing in, and we had gotten to a town. And if my dear viewers, you remember, way back to like 3 weeks ago, this is the town I talked about with the crazy weird virus that we couldn't fix. We got there, and there was this asshole merchant, like always, and it was like, hey, we want this thing. Yeah, well, I don't want you here. All right, man, but like the store's dead, so like, and I really need some supplies. Can we just not do this right now? Give me a reason why I should help you out. Because I'm offering you money. Yeah, it's not good enough. I'm sorry, sir, aren't you running a business? Is that not like the only thing that should matter to you? Is that I have money, like...
That's like even a step further. That's going beyond just being annoying and just like breaking logic at that point. Like, you're not even, it just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, basically, Cardell's character was like, hey man, look, I'm just finna get some like mundane supplies. And then the NPC gave him so much trouble that he was like, fuck this, I'm leaving. And then no one else use that merchant. We're just like, yeah, well, that's a bust. So I guess we're just gonna wait till the next town.
Yeah, and if that merchant was tied to the completion of the side quest, you might just be like, all right, well, it's not that important, right?
Yeah. It's like, you know what? Maybe this place can be destroyed by horrible magical plagues.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to the video game thing, because I think it's a pretty useful, like, comparative tool. If I'm playing... Anytime I'm playing a video game and I come across a side quest and then I realize that this side quest thing is going to take a really, really long time and is going to require a lot of hoops to jump through, I will generally just say, fuck it, never mind. Like, there does come a point where he's just like, I can't be bothered, and especially, and depending on the game too. There are some games where it's on purpose, like you're supposed to come back to it later, which actually sometimes I find equally annoying depending on the execution. But Yeah, there's some games where it's like, I just am not, this is not interesting enough, and I'm not invested enough for me to go this out of my way. It just doesn't, like, why would you give me so many hoops?
You know what's a perfect example of this in a video game?
Oh.
The City of the Dead in Darksiders 2. Not the, like, main quest, but the one where it's like, oh yeah, you want the, like, whatever the fuck weapon or armor, I can't remember what it was when you're in there, go find this thing. Oh wait, that thing was broken into 3 pieces. Go find those 3 things to remake this one thing to get this one thing.
You have to fight like 3 big bosses, but they are way higher level than you would be at that point, and you have to basically almost beat the game before you could go back and fight those 3 guys.
Yeah, something like that. And then you're like,
yeah.
Even when I beat the game, this isn't fucking worth it. I just don't want it.
Yeah, it's like I just don't care. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that shit. So yes, not too many. The number of hoops is a delicate balance, and obviously that's like I don't want to say esoteric, but that is a hard thing to gauge when you're the GM coming up with the side quest thing, looking at it and go, is this too many goofy, dumb hoops to jump through? That can be hard to figure out, and it will ebb and flow based on players and player reaction and what's going on at the time and stuff like that. So, you know, you have to kind of be on your toes a little bit with it, but I would say generally err on the side of caution and make the side quest, like, make the hoops that you're thinking about setting up for them to jump through, make them shorter or make there be less of them than your initial thought. Like, if you were thinking there's going to be 3 hoops to jump for the players to jump through, maybe only make it 2. Like, reel it back, because it'll be, you know, potentially you can add later if you need to, but also just err on the side of less in an attempt to not be annoying, because being annoying is like the ultimate player killer in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is. And like, I think like another good rule of thumb is, right, would you as a player want to deal with this shit when you had other things you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Right? If your whole thing is like, oh, I need to like reclaim my family honor, a la Zuko, and it's like, yeah, but the mayor's cat, though. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to. No,
I don't even like that cat.
Yeah, it's like, I don't. Why should I care other than the fact that it's a cat? But like, B, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So the other point you hit on, you mentioned the rewards one. And I will say, I don't necessarily disagree. Like, yes, making the rewards worth it can help, but that's kind of, I don't know, lower priority for me, or not lower priority, but I think about that towards the end of like the reward or making it worth it part. I generally think about that kind of last, and I don't stress it too much, because it's pretty easy in most games to be like, all right, players, here's some gold, here's a magic weapon, here's some street cred, here's an NPC you can use later for a fucking Ripper Doc situation. You know, like, it's easy to throw the kind of reward bit at the end for making it worth it. Like, and you could potentially not even know what the reward for the side quest is going to be until your players finish it, and then you go, oh, now I have an idea. You know, so I don't stress that one too much. But the one that I think is you really hit the nail on the head is not making it egregiously out of the way.
That is a big one.
I think that's the real, particularly when you're dealing with tabletop, you know, because a lot these days, this is a different story, I'm sure, back in the day, but these days, a lot of GMs are coming to the tabletop scene, and one of their primary inspirations is video games. And you look at, I am guilty of this. You look at video games and say, how does the video game do it? Okay, I will do that in tabletop. And that works for some things, but not other things.
Yeah.
And in a video game, you know, the main quest is there for you all the time because you're just the main character and it's a video game. So the main quest is never going to like move or go anywhere. Unless you're playing one of those weird games like Dead Rising where they actually went out of their way to do stuff like you can miss the main quest, but that's a whole other discussion. Right. If you're playing Far Cry, you can ignore the main quest. You can play 20 hours of that game and never touch the main quest and then decide to go do the main quest and it'll be like nothing happened, right? Because it's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
So having side quests in a game like Far Cry or Assassin's Creed or Ghost of Tsushima, you know, fucking Horizon Zero Dawn, having a side quest that's like way out of the way is like less of an egregious thing because you know the main quest will always be there. Also, you're playing alone, so you can pace it out at whatever pace you want, as opposed to you're playing with, you know, 4 other people around who are not all necessarily going to be on the same page. Also, you're not the main character in a tabletop game, whereas you explicitly are in a video game. And this is a huge one. In most video games, traveling around is like at least moderately fun and can be moderately entertaining. You know, at the worst, it's just sort of benign. Whereas traveling around in a tabletop game can be actively annoying depending on what you as a GM are implementing. Like, let's say you establish as a GM, let's say you're using a map with hexes, and you establish as a GM, every time you go, you know, 1 hex or whatever, I'm going to roll for 2 encounters per day. If you say that to your players, and then you say to the players, there's a side quest 5 hexes out of the way, not in the same direction that you're currently going, that's going to be actively annoying because your players are going to be like, well, we've established that means potentially 10 fights.
Yeah.
With random crap out there in the wilderness, which can be potentially very annoying. So, like, traveling around, like basic shit like traveling, and if you're playing Spider-Man, for example, traveling around is really fun. So the fact that the side quest is on the other end of Queens while you're playing Marvel's Spider-Man for PS4, you don't care because that means 10 minutes of swinging on the fucking doing the web swinging because it's fun. Not the case in a tabletop game, right?
No, yeah, especially not if, like, you know, this is less of an issue in something like D&D's like mid to higher level when you have stuff like teleportation circle or you know,
or it's assumed you have an airship or the Griffins or yeah. Yes, that is a thing, and that can help. And definitely later game, I do think that's one of the main reasons to give that kind of shit to your players.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like in a video game, it's okay to have side quests be way actively out of the way. There's all sorts of things that sort of mitigate it as a frustration. Tabletop, not so much. So you want to kind of limit how out of the way your side quest is from your sort of main plotline point. And ideally, it's like directly in the path. Now, I suppose there could be an argument that some people might say where, oh, if every side quest is just a thing that's directly in the path of the main quest, is that not kind of defeating the point? Are you not just making it part of the main quest? And like, yeah, I suppose there's a little bit of an argument there, but I think the benefits sort of outweigh like the cons in that scenario for the most part. You know, like you don't want to overdo it, but I feel like if most of your like side quest events are along the way or in the vicinity of the main quest, I don't personally see a scenario where players are going to get like particularly annoyed by that or think that's like dumb or whatever. I think for the most part, they'll be okay with it, you know?
Honestly, I'm inclined to think that it's the exact opposite, right? You like, it's like, oh, you want us to do this thing that we could potentially be rewarded for. And like rewarded in, I mean more than just a monetary way. Like, you know, you help an NPC out, you make a new friend, you do this, you do that, whatever it is. There's like an incentive to do it. It's on the way. And more often than not, if you do it right, you lose a session most, I think most players would be like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I mean, like, we're already going to be there. Why not? You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there could be an argument to the sort of, I think it's mostly kind of a verisimilitude argument where it feels weird to have every side quest thing be like in the general vicinity of the main quest thing. But again, I think the pros outweigh the cons enough, you know?
Mm.
And if you really are against something like that, you're probably going to be playing a different style of game anyway. Probably playing something a little more sandboxy, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that's, as far as making side quests not annoying, I think that's one of the biggest things is having it be not terribly out of the way. Or if it is out of the way, you know, make there be like a reason or a benefit for it. Like if it's super, like make it like a risk reward thing. If it's super out of the way, but your players choose to do it, then reward them handsomely for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like make it really like, oh shit, let's go. Like for example, you know, Lord Darkomir. I already forgot what this Lord dude's name was. That
I don't remember either.
I'm trying not to say Dathomir because that's the Star Wars planet.
Darkomon. That was
Darkomon. That's what it was. Lord Darkomon. I should write this one down. This is branding. When Lord Darkomon gives you the quest, it's like, all right, go to the town to deal with the Banshee problem. And then the players find out that there's like an orc tribe that's camped out a couple of days away that are going to potentially be coming towards this town. And they go, okay, if we go way out of our way to deal with the orc thing, this might be beneficial. And then your players deal with the orc thing, and then maybe they also manage to deal with the Banshee problem somehow. Next thing, they come back and Lord Darkomon's like, dang, you guys did really good. How do you feel about a deed to some land or something? You know, like really step up. Or maybe it's like some sort of narrative thing where he's like, well, since you took care of that orc problem, that's actually going to make it really easy for our next phase of the plan, because we were going to move troops in that direction anyway, and we didn't know that orc camp was there. You know, like make it really push either the narrative or make it a big, heavy reward. Like, you know, get some meat on those bones. Oh, damn it. There was another thing related to that. Damn it. Oh, maybe it'll come. Yeah. So the other thing, this is hard and isn't going to land 100% of the time, which is why I would say it's not like it's not a core rule of thumb principle to go by 100%. But The Witcher. Yeah. Okay. It's coming back to me. So a lot of people are like, oh, the side quests in The Witcher are awesome. And the reason people say that a lot of the time is it's like, oh, well, the side quests are like really, you know, deep and well written, and they have their own little mini stories to them and stuff like that. Like anytime I bring up The Witcher 3, I almost always talk about the little side quest storyline where you come across a town that's being threatened by a Leshen, and then you can choose to just believe what the townsfolk say and just brutally murder the Leshen, or you could try to actually talk to the Leshen because it's, you know, it's like a nature spirit, and find out like, oh no, like the Leshen's pissed off because of X, Y, or Z reason. I don't remember exactly how it resolves out and everything because it's been forever since I played The Witcher 3, but like that whole little mini thing I remember getting really invested in, and it's just a side quest in the town you like kind of happen upon. Actually, I think it's a Witcher contract. I don't even think it's it's not even a quest from like an NPC.
I believe it is, yeah. I think it's a Witcher contract.
Yeah, it's
I haven't actually played the game, but I do remember that being like the coolest contract everyone says.
Yeah. So it's like making there be narrative meat. Meat man like meat. Making there be narrative. Lord Darkomon like meat. Making there be like narrative meat to the story of the side quests can help players be invested, ergo make them more willing to do something that they might consider annoying. But obviously that requires some skill and can be very hard, and sometimes you might really nail it and your players love the little side quest thing, and sometimes you might think you nailed it and the players actually just don't give a shit. You know, you give your players a side quest that involves rescuing a cat, and they're deeply invested in the cat, and then you give them a side quest that involves like a man and his heartbrokenness over his dead wife who he tried to resurrect with an evil book, and your players are like, yeah, but like he served a shitty beer though, so like we don't really care that much.
Yeah, it's really the cat that I give a shit about.
Yeah, like, you know, sometimes it'll land and sometimes it won't. So like it's good to try to give some narrative weight to the side quest stuff, but it's not always easy. So I wouldn't say bank on. I wouldn't bank on it 100% because sometimes you'll nail it, sometimes you won't nail it. It just kind of goes, but it's a good like goal to have, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you nail it, great, but don't make that the like conceit. Be like every time, like, yeah, I fucking hit it.
Every time I'm a genius. Yeah,
maybe not, but like
you just won't. You just can't.
Yeah,
like I don't want to say it's impossible, but you know, it's
highly improbable.
It's improbable. It's very difficult. Yeah. You know, every quest line can't be the Ronnie quest line in Elden Ring.
Yeah. I mean, for God's sake, there's definitely some like side quests that I have done where I was like, that was a fucking banger. And then, you know, like 2 weeks later, I think about it and I'm like, oh, that may not have been like, it's just late in the session. It could have been they didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Well, fuck.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. I mean, any last tidbits you want to add onto this little subsection B, Article C? Page 34.
No, yeah, I think I'm good.
So the thing I was gonna start with, but we're living on the Wild West, we're out of order. I was gonna. Why even bother doing side quests in your game? Because you could very easily have a entire D&D campaign and you just everything is focused. You could run Lord of the Rings in your D&D game and just everything is about getting to Mordor and that's the game and be perfectly fine. You know, there's no obligation to have like side content, side quest shit. I'm gonna throw it at you here, Isaiah. What do you think would be the main reason for you? What do you think the main reason for even having side quests in your game?
As someone who's running the game or as like a potential player?
No, running.
It's mainly to let the players explore their characters more. You know, often when everything is really tightly knit and it's all about the main story. It's about my story, guys. We're all in this together, but it's my story. Yeah, no. You often see a reduced amount of the characters that you would get otherwise, right? Like, if everything is about life or death decisions, you don't get to know if, like, you know, a character might have some issues with their family. There might be something that they've like, or you know, maybe you don't get to know like the characters. This sounds dumb to say, but like their hobbies, shit they do in downtime, things that like lead to more questions than just yeses or nos. You know, it's like, oh, why does your character do this? Why does your character like? One of the things that I really liked about, oh God, what was Cardell's character in Avernus?
Oh, Riemann?
Riemann, yeah. His whole thing of like, oh God, what was it? Was he a cobbler? Was that what his father was?
The Hell Rider stuff?
More than that. He had like his time. Oh no, sorry. I was thinking that's a different character. His like time as a squire. Like,
oh, yeah. Hey,
what was it like for you being like a Hell Rider's kid? You know, and he's like, oh, you know, it was rough. It's like boot camp, really, right? So, you know, it's like ROTC. You sort of held to a schedule. You got to be all super. It's like, and then you can go, you know, how do you think that affected your childhood, man? And, you know, you look at the Aasimar, whose whole thing is self-flagellation. And you're like, I mean, the answer's pretty apparent, but I just kind of want to hear it from you. You know?
Nah, he's probably fine.
Yeah, he's all right.
No trauma at all.
Yeah, no, dead, but no.
Yeah.
Alexa, play Daddy Wasn't There from the Austin Powers soundtrack.
Interesting. You came up with a very selfless answer. So that means I have to be a selfish piece of shit. Because pretty much all my train of thoughts were for me as a GM was where my head went immediately, like why I would want to run a side quest for my purposes. You're not necessarily wrong, though. It's true that if you do a side quest, if you do a little side story that's outside the normal purview. I don't know why that was hard. Outside the normal oh my god.
Purview
of the main story, you will sometimes see a side. I'm saying the word side too much, but a side of the PCs that you might not
a
otherwise
perspective,
see.
if you will.
A perspective. There we go. Synonyms are good. But yeah, that's totally a thing. Like, oh, there's a side quest about this little boy who's trying to train to be a knight, and we needed to help him do X, Y, or Z thing. And through that process, the paladin character, the player reveals that, oh, the paladin actually had a really rough childhood and like didn't know their parents. And there's no way that was going to come up in the main plot line, but because this little side story thing happened to be somewhat related, boom, bang, boom, you get more out of it. Definitely a thing. Now, if I'm going to be a selfish prick, however, for me, I think one of the best reasons, personally... Oh, actually, I say BSL. I did write down one of my notes, show a different side of the PCs. So I guess I was thinking about that a little bit.
There you go.
All right, I guess I'm not as heinous as I thought. But the first one I wrote down is a little bit of a mental break for the GM. I think it's a really good reason to have a side quest in this. And what I mean is, by changing up the pace of things, it can give you a little brain pause, a little brain reset. So, using my game, it's like everything's always relating back to the dredge, and there's primary problem. They're this like, they're a force of nature, right? So they're just ever present all the fucking time. So by having there be little tidbits of other stuff that you occasionally run into, that lets me as a GM have a little pause, chill out from the main tension, and also show a little extra, like, oh, here's a little other, like, tidbit of world building you might not have seen or something like that. And it's just, it helps with the pacing of things, it changes up the pacing in the same way that if you have 5 sessions of incredibly brutal and violent combat, maybe have a couple of sessions of like, no one dies. A good example is the session where you guys arrived at the town of Starwater in the Mana Grove, and you guys just sort of dingle-dangled around in the town of Bumbledefuck Nowhere out in the booties. And it was just a good little mental pause, and then Django saw very confused casual racism.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
In multiple ways, in fact. But yeah, like, it's a good little... It's like a breather for your brain.
Look, man, the take 5 sessions do be real, though. Like,
yeah,
I've definitely had those where,
totally think.
If shit gets really heavy and you just like, hey guys, y'all want to go gambling? And they're like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, well, and I think some GMs are maybe, I mean, I don't know if I want to say afraid, but like reluctant to have those sessions where you kind of bumbledefuck around, because, they're worried about wasting people's time. It's like, oh, we all showed up to dungeon fuck and kill monsters, and we are not killing monsters nor dungeon fucking. What is even the point of this session? But you can still get shit out of sessions like that, and often what you end up getting out of it will catch you as a GM by surprise, because those are often the type of sessions where there's the most leeway for the players to just like do a thing randomly that you weren't expecting or wouldn't have ever thought of. And sometimes that one little bumbledefuck session will lead into something else that could be more important than you were expecting. Like, there's lots of like room there because it's a collaborative thing, right? Because there's 5 people or more doing all of this together. Leaving open blank spaces will sometimes make, random shit appear when you leave the door open. Like,
oh, for sure. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't use like stuff characters said on like a one-off session to like influence what goes on for potentially like a specific backstory session for that person or character, Yeah. If someone's whole thing is like, oh, I got, excommunicated from my tribe, I couldn't just, I didn't fit in. And then you're like, okay, well, why didn't you fit in? What about this? What about that? What about this? And then you start thinking about it more,
Yeah, I mean, that stuff happens all the time. And then also, if you rope it back in to whatever's going on, then the player suddenly feels a little bit more like emotional investment because they're like, oh, that was the thing I brought up. I did that.
Yeah, I did, like, retroactive giving a shit is definitely real.
Yes.
Like, I've definitely had that thing, and I can't think of a specific one in your game, but I've like definitely had that thing where it's like, God, why the fuck are we doing this stupid ass side quest? Fuck me, I don't want to be here. And then it turns out like, that the character that you thought was a nobody became a badass in the time skip, and then they saved you when you were like, oh,
yeah,
we're just boned, aren't we? And they show up and you're like, hey, oh, thank God that was for something.
Yeah, I mean, movies do that kind of thing all the time. Movies and shows, that's a very common maneuver. So yes, definitely. And maybe you have to sacrifice a session or two of your players being annoyed for you to, be like, surprise, motherfuckers, 10 sessions down the line. But, it's okay. Sometimes you do that. Just let them be a little annoyed. Just kind of, pretend to play stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is potentially a controversial opinion. Sometimes players being annoyed isn't always like a full sail bad thing, Like, if a player is like mad about something, that means they care about something,
True.
So if you do something that they don't like, as long as it's not like a personal affront to that person, then, there's like a level of respectful fair game that has to be sacrificed in a way,
Yeah.
Like if your whole thing is, oh yeah, I really like this character, I like my character's really like attached to, maybe not even romantically, but just like in terms of like intense camaraderie, a la like Olshafont from 14. And then you do the thing that happens to Olshafont in 14, the player might be mad, but it's not a bad thing, right? It opens a huge door for them to explore new avenues.
It also does come back up.
Yeah, it also comes back up.
In that particular example, it comes back up a lot, actually.
Yeah.
In a couple of places.
Yeah. Spoilers, I guess, for people playing 14.
We didn't say anything spoily. We said nothing. We said all we said were vague sentences.
Yeah, but there's some pretty simple context that can be gleaned from that.
Nah. Also, you don't know what I'm talking about.
True, I don't.
Yeah. No.
But I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it crushed me. Body and soul.
Yeah. It's phrased another way, you might not like broccoli, but your broccoli's good for you. So, maybe eat it every once.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can't just eat donuts all day long, as much as you may want to. Another one that I had, in terms of why even bother doing side quests in your game at all, is to buy yourself some time.
That's a big one. Yes.
Yeah.
This is so fucking real.
As a GM.
I saw that shit in the fucking outline. I was wondering if you're going to bring this up now.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. The amount of like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh God, the main quest has got to go. Oh, but I didn't prepare this fight. Oh shit. And then you have like a session, maybe 2, of like nothing but dialogue and you just being able to easily improv while you're frantically prepping in the background. Yes. absolutely 100%. This is a thing.
Or even if it is like a prepped side quest that has encounters and everything, the narrative weight of it is much lower, right? Or you can elect to make the narrative weight of it much lower. Ergo, you're buying yourself time for how you can transition back into the big heavy main quest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can be like, all right, I don't know what mission Lord Darkamon's going to give you next, but in the meantime, the farmer's sheep are being attacked by goblins, and then you just whip up a couple of quick goblin encounters, and that's the next session or two.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you're done with the goblins, it's like, oh, you get a letter from Lord Darkamon conveniently right after you finish killing the goblins. Weird how that happens.
This is not an NPC. This is not like a character. This is just.
I whipped this up. I whipped this up today. This is not a character in our games. This is not a character in either of our games, but it might become a character now that I'm doing this.
It might just, yeah.
I might have to make Lord Darkamon the thing. But yeah, like buying yourself time, and I don't even necessarily mean prep time, right? Because you still have to, like, if you want to do like a full-blown quest, you do still have to prep a certain amount, but you're buying yourself like writing time, right? By making it a side story that's not tied into the big main plot. You're giving yourself some mental space to like reallocate and consider how you want to transition into like the next big arc. Or if you really want to like cut the prep way down for a week or two, you could make it a side quest that basically only involves going around and talking to a bunch of people. Right? Like maybe the side quest is you need to deal with a problem between Lord Darkamon and his court, and you need to like discuss with the various nobles why they're all fighting with each other and how to figure out this tax situation that they're all arguing about. And that requires very little prep because it's just players, you're being asked to step in, do what you do. Right? And then you don't need to prep a map or a fight or any of that crap, and you can just sort of do and figure it out. I say that, I don't know if I've ever actually done that. Have I done that?
Just have the talking with the NPCs? Yeah, I think you have a few times.
Well, no, have like a side quest thing that's very like outside the normal humdrum we're adventurers type energy. I don't know.
Oh, that? Yeah, I don't think I can think of one offhand.
Definitely not in the current game. I'm trying to think I've done it in any of my previous games either. Like maybe, but I don't know. But yeah, buying yourself time either via sort of like mental energy, buying yourself time type of thing, or sort of giving yourself some prep time, stuff like that. Big thing. And then the last one, and this is probably the most obvious in terms of why you would bother doing side quests in your game, is just you had a cool idea that doesn't fit into the main plot, but you wanted to do it really, really bad, so you just made a side quest that makes it work.
Yeah, right? I've done that.
Right, like that's the easiest one. It's like, I really want to have my players like fight a mind flayer, but I don't think Lord Darkamon would give them a quest to go kill a mind flayer. So like maybe they just find some mind flayer dude in the city who's like killing people. All right, go. Yeah, there we go. Right. Like sometimes you just have ideas and you're like, I just want to get this out.
Yeah, I've definitely done that. Basically, whenever my players went to the Tron equivalent in my setting, they're like I just really wanted to do some weird cyberpunk shit. So I was like, oh,
yeah.
I have this handy dandy setting right here. I didn't like do something. You know, like,
yeah, like sometimes you just have ideas. Yeah, I mean that's kind of there's not much to add to that one. It's a very uncontroversial statement. It just kind of be how it be.
Yeah, I mean, I like when you come down to it, right? Like, and there's a reason for this. It's padding, and it's very useful padding at that. And now, like,
yeah.
Of course, padding should be handled like tactfully, because otherwise you're just pissing everyone off. It's just like, God, I just want to do the thing. Let me do the thing, GM. God, why? But
well, you could also be hurting yourself too, right? If you overdo padding, you could make the campaign go on for longer and longer, and then all of a sudden you're like, actually, I don't really want to run this game anymore, but now I've over padded it, and now like I'm near the end, but I was hoping I'd be done by now, but I kind of paced things out wrong and padded too many goofy side quests, and like, so you can hurt yourself with that too.
Yeah, I mean,
in the same way that like a video game, you know, because we keep using the video game comparison, or at least I do. If there's a game you really, really like, then you could see a lot of padding as a good thing, because it's a game you allow. For example, it's a game that has like a combat system you super love. So there you see that, like, actually here, let's get a little more specific. You're playing Devil May Cry. And you're like, man, I love the combat system Devil May Cry. Oh, there's an entire mode that's just fight stuff over and over and over and over and over again. That's awesome, because you like the combat system in Devil May Cry. But if you're not crazy about the game, like let's say you really like the story of the game, but you're not that invested in the gameplay of the game, the extra padding can be really fucking annoying. The tabletop scenario can be much the same. It's like, if you're loving the campaign, sure, padding is not necessarily a big deal. But if you're starting to lose your chutzpah and energy for it, then it will very quickly become a problem.
I'm trying to think. There's a game I played recently that had that, where it was like, I wanted to just play the game, but the game kept throwing shit at me, and I was just getting like annoyed.
It's a delicate balance. Video games have a major problem with this, where they will often, particularly when you're talking about like big AAA, like they love to stuff extra padding to increase playtime arbitrarily. Because, you know,
Solasta did this a little bit, where I'm at in the Lost Valley campaign. Yeah, it did that thing where the side quests all feel super relevant. Because there doesn't seem to be, at least, like a main quest. So you're just doing random bullshit, or what seems like random bullshit, and you're like, wait, what's important? What can I skip? What can I not skip? And then you just sort of lose the plot after a while.
Yeah.
That is definitely something that's happened to me in Solasta. And, you know, your only real recourse is either look it up on the wiki, which, you know, could take a little while, do all the side quests, which could take a little more than a little while, or just be like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, you can sort of run things like that in your tabletop, but you have to be kind of explicit and clear about it. You know, like, you sort of inform your players that there is no like main primary quest, and that the point is kind of that all of the quests interconnect with each other in some fashion, or all of them have a certain equal degree of relevance.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's, in a lot of ways, that's kind of how you run Apocalypse World, actually. Because anything that's relevant to the community that the characters are like living in or around, basically anything that would matter, you would turn into a front, and then all of those various fronts are going on and interacting with each other as they do, and the players are just doing stuff in response to them in various degrees, and one is not intended to be more important than the other in a particular way. Obviously, eventually, as you get towards the end of the campaign, you will sort of pick and focus on one particular set of things. You know, in the case of Apocalypse World, maybe one or two fronts the characters tend to, or the players tend to care more about, so you focus on those. But like, by default, the game assumes that they're all of a sort of equal weight or semi-equal weight.
Yeah.
The one little last tidbit, we like sort of kind of hit this. The difference between a side quest and a secondary objective, I think, is worth noting. If for no other reason than like doing too many side quests, right? If you overdo side quests, definitely can get annoying. But like secondary objectives, I think you can kind of do like almost infinitely, and it's fine because they're not actively getting in the way generally. So the difference...
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the difference being here to establish what I'm talking about, right? A side quest, like I said in the beginning, often comes from a different character than the characters that the PCs are normally interacting with. So again, to go back to the example, Lord Darkomond is the main quest giver that the players have been interacting with, but then Farmer Joe asks for their help with a particular problem. Farmer Joe is sort of bequeathing them the side quests. You know, that's what we've been talking about the whole time. A secondary objective is like, Lord Darkomond's like, hey, go to the town and deal with the Banshee problem, but also, if you can manage it, there's a local ambassador who last we heard of them was at that town. So while you're dealing with the Banshee problem, if you could potentially find that ambassador and bring them back here to the kingdom, that would be super great. That's a secondary objective, which is like, it's still related to the main quest and it's coming from the same person, but they're asking you to do a little bit extra on top of what you're already doing. And presumably, you know, from a GM side of things, if you're giving your players a secondary objective, give them extra reward for doing it. Generally, this will take the form of more XP or more gold, right? Those are like the easy ones. So Lord Darkomond's like, I'll pay you extra if you could bring the ambassador back alive to me. You know, those are the really easy ones. Obviously, there's other stuff you could do too, but those are like the low-hanging fruit. You know, a good example that I actually had, or actually ran, I should say. My players were dealing with a situation where they were being attacked by this enemy drow army, and they, wow, damn, I just lost my train of thought. Being attacked. Oh. All right, so we had a little internet snafu. Where did you lose me, Isaiah? What was the last thing you heard me say?
Oh God, I panicked so hard that I'm like,
I was talking about side quests versus secondary objectives.
Yes, okay, remember that. Oh no,
Did you hear my example of the secondary objective?
Regale me again, and it might come back to me.
Okay, so I was basically saying secondary objective is, you know, an additional thing that the main quest giver asks you to do on top of what you're already doing. So going back to the example we've been doing the whole time, Lord Darkomond says, hey, go over to the town to deal with the Banshee problem, but also there's this ambassador guy who last time we saw him was in that town. Could you try and bring him back alive while you're dealing with the Banshee situation? That's a secondary objective, right? Because it's...
Yes, okay, I remember the Banshees.
Yeah. Because it's a secondary objective because it's still related to the same location, same shit's going on, same person's asking you to do it. It's just a little extra on top. And then the other thing I said was generally you want to reward your players more XP, more gold, some sort of extra reward if they complete the secondary objective.
Yeah, I mean, that's really... A lot of what it comes down to is incentivizing, right? And it doesn't have to be material incentivizing, but it does have to be incentivizing in some way, right? Like, it is a game. The point of the game is to win something. Maybe, you know, you can't win D&D. Yes, correct. But
you can play.
I could win the NPC my character has a crush on.
That's true. You can do that. Well, so like an example I was gonna say before you cut out was in our game, right? If you remember, the Drow rebels were being attacked by the sort of Queen loyalists, and you guys were fighting in that little town. And the secondary objective there was protect the boat full of supplies.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Right. If that boat had burned down, you guys wouldn't have, like, it's not a video game. I'm not going to failure state you and make you restart the fight, right? Like, the boat could burn down. But because you successfully did protect the supply cache, I rewarded you guys with extra XP. And then also from a narrative standpoint, the Drow rebel forces basically trusted you almost implicitly because you proved that you were the badasses that you had claimed to be.
Hell yeah.
Right. So like that's a good example of second. The really important thing for me is that a secondary objective should always be additive to the main objective and should not be like if it gets too far out of the way, then it's a different thing, right? Like it becomes more of a side
Yeah, it's
quest
just a pain in the ass.
and it becomes annoying. Yeah, like it should really be part of like, you know, invade the goblin camp, kill the goblin king, and like, you know, disable their, you know, not disable, but like, what's the word? I don't route their forces. Also, if you could like save the people that are imprisoned there, that'd be nice. Like that sort of thing. The main reason, like I said before, the main reason I bring this up is because I feel like secondary objectives you can do kind of always, right? Like if every quest has some sort of little extra thing on top that is harder to achieve, but if the players do it, you reward them. I feel like you could do that pretty much with impunity and not like worry too much.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the players don't lose sight of what the, you know, quote unquote plot actually is, and then you fall into the trap of like, wait, what are we even doing? Like,
Yes.
that's always the fucking worst.
Well, yeah, you don't want to stack them up too much, right? Like you don't want to. I don't think you should have like 4 secondary objectives, but like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as it's well integrated into the kind of main quest, then you can do it pretty much whenever. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's some edge case I'm not thinking about where it gets super annoying or whatever, but I think basically because the point is like rewarding your players for being more skilled or like pulling off some crazy shit, like rewarding them extra. I think pretty much every player is going to be happy with. It's like, oh, you took the route that was harder, but like you did it, so here's some more stuff. Like I don't see a lot of players complaining about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a player being like, God, GM, that took 5 sessions and all we got was the luck blade. Gosh. It's like,
All right, well, maybe not that.
You want to die?
Maybe not that extreme, but sure, yeah.
I mean, look, yes, it is extreme, but like, I guarantee you there's one player.
But like,
There's at least one.
uh-oh.
Somewhere.
Okay, internet service providers are really fighting us because we just had another snafu.
Yeah, buddy.
And Isaiah was saying something to me, and I didn't hear it. Do you remember what the last thing you said was?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's the yes, I'm sure the like someone bitching about getting the luck blade and not being able to do the main quest. I'm sure that's like infinitesimally rare, but I guarantee you it's happened at least once, which is one too many.
Oh, I mean, I was referring to rewarding your players with the luck blade being extreme, but yeah, that too, I guess. But yeah, either way. Yeah, all right. I had 2 little campaign examples I wanted to throw out just to sort of illustrate, just for fun.
Hit me with it. What you got?
So, because I was thinking about, I was like, have I done side quests in my campaign right now? And I haven't done a lot, but I've done a couple. There's been a few. I've definitely done the secondary objectives quite a lot. Like that, I've done that more for sure. But there's been a couple of little side quest things. And one that you guys did actually take up is when you guys were out in the Withered Lands and it was like, hey, go kill the Talos. Because that might become a problem later. And you guys did actually go out of your way because a different NPC had, been like, hey, well, I guess the NPC in question was kind of the main quest giver in that particular scenario, but they hadn't been for most of the campaign. So that's like a little weird thing, but doesn't matter. Point being, that NPC was like, hey, you want to go out and kill the Talos? And you guys as players were like, yeah, that's a thing we could do. But as we were saying before, I didn't make that particularly far out of the... In fact, it was barely out of the way at all.
Yeah, that was one of those like, well, we're going to be out there anyway. I might as well.
Yeah, it was very close by. The only real thing... The decision there was just, do we want to fight Big Monster, really? And also... It's the kind of thing where you guys were rewarded with an item that its value is a little bit ambiguous, but it has uses. You guys still have it. And then also on top of that, if you guys had not done that side quest, I I probably would have brought the Talos back in some way later down the road. I don't know exactly, but I had some ideas. I was like, if he gets left alone, I think there's going to be something I do with this later, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see fucking Godzilla.
Yeah.
Just, giant Spartan Godzilla just kicking the fucking castle gates down, being like, and everyone's screaming and yelling.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that was a pretty successful side quest thing, because again, it was out of the way. It didn't take super long. And it was the kind of thing that was like, you guys didn't have to do it. And because you did do it, you got a thing out of it that had some implications down the road. And I do think it's worth noting, the reward for doing that was not like, I mean, there was the XP reward, obviously, but other than the obvious thing of the XP reward, the item reward was sort of a story relevant thing, but my players were not immediately clear on why it was a story relevant thing or what they were going to do with it. And I think that's the only reason I bring that up, is because I just think that's a good little lesson of, you can give your players a thing for doing the side quest, and they may or may not know what to do with it,
Yes, it does not need to have immediate dividends.
Yeah, it as long as there's like, if it's something mysterious, then you have a little extra hint of intrigue, like, what are we supposed to do with this? And I knew that Sam's character was gonna look into it basically regardless, because I was sitting there like, yeah,
you see that? That's bait.
That's bait. It worked. We're so deep in the campaign. I know basically how every character is going to react to damn near every situation, at this point, because, we're 70 sessions deep with the same characters. It's pretty, I've got everyone kind of figured out. So I knew where that would go for the most part, Thought, yes. Thing.
Oh, no, yes. I just think that is something that I've also experienced, where it's like,
yeah,
if I were a betting boy, you're definitely going to poke this bear if I put it in front of you.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Ant.
Yeah. I bet this character will do this thing. Plays session. Character does exactly that. Truly, I am shocked. Surprise, Pikachu. And then the other one that I thought of was, and I don't even know if you remember this, because you guys sort of ended up ignoring this, but there was when you guys got to the Mana Grove, there was the miners that were sort of trapped out there.
Yes.
Yeah. That was going to be a little fight with the evil spirits of the forest, the Numa, and the miners that were trapped out there was going to be a thing. And you guys just kind of ended up ignoring that. Mostly because it was sort of somewhat out of the way, and you guys were just like, fuck it.
I'm gonna be straight hundo with you, Chief. I just forgot.
Yeah, well,
now I'm kind of sad.
Look, those guys are probably all out there dead in the forest, but it's fine.
Sage.
I mean, the other reason I stuck that one in there is because you guys weren't sure how you were gonna get to the next, because the problem at hand was you guys were trying to make your way to the Underdark, right? And you guys were not 100% sure on how you were going to go about it. So I was giving you also kind of an alternate route option via that. But yeah, you didn't end up doing it, which is again, it's fine. It's just an example of sometimes you dangle the bait, the carrot in front of the players, and sometimes they're just like, nah, Chief, I think I'm good. And you as a GM have to go, that's okay. And did I have a cool map that I wanted to use? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I might have. But, it'd be like that sometimes.
It don't be how it is, but it do.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you have any, side quest stories from your campaign?
Quite a few. I mean, pretty much every character's, Mass Effect style loyalty quest has been a massive side quest, if not a massive mini arc.
Do you count those as side quests?
I do, yeah, because they're not necessary. I just throw the shit out there and the players go, yeah, but I wanna though.
Well,
it's I don't have to.
So they're not necessary, but the comparison you used was the Mass Effect style loyalty missions, right? Which you can beat Mass Effect 2 without doing those, but I mean, I guess spoilers for Mass Effect 2. Whatever, Mass Effect 2's old. If you don't do the loyalty missions, all the characters will die or are very likely to die. So it's like they're not required, but they're like basically as close to required as they could be without being required, right? Like, I almost want to like. I guess that is they are a side quest, but they feel like more than a side quest. I guess that goes back to the whole narrative weight though thing on like investment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Well, like a big one that we just did was the like whole jailbreak thing, and that one I count as a side quest because I literally told the players don't do it. Like nothing good will come of this. Like the short term gains that you get. And I as a DM, I was saying like I wasn't saying literally don't do this, but like be aware.
All the NPCs were saying don't do this.
Yeah, all the NPCs were like there was definitely a way where Moon's character could have been like, you know what, he's my dad, like my father figure, but it's just not worth it. Like we're gonna lose everything we care about if we go try to save him for my and I'm not saying selfish because I think she's selfish, but like I want this because I want it kind of goal.
Right.
She could have 100% not done that. And she did. And other people were like, hey man, please don't do this.
Well, also, I think that particular example I find kind of interesting because that was as far as I understand it, player-driven side quest?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's like a whole other thing. Like that almost feels like own episode material. But yeah, the idea of like players being like, this is not important to what we're currently doing, but I'm really, really invested in this. There's like a whole other I don't want to say can of worms because that sounds bad, but there's like a whole other set of things you have to kind of consider if that's the situation, right? Like there's other
for sure, yeah,
other stuff to tackle, which is kind of an interesting thought. I don't I don't know. Yeah, that feels like own episode material, but it intrigues me. And it's funny too because there are some games that are arguably built entirely around that premise. Those are also. I feel like in a way those are kind of, I don't know, the best side quests. It's the players being like, I want to do this thing, whether you tell me to or not. Fuck you, GM. I'm the boss. I kind of love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest reason why I like it is because it shows a clear level of care and agency for the thing that you're like spending a lot of time writing and like
it's an
preparing.
investment. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it shows that like the players are invested enough to think about it outside of the 4 some odd hours you spend playing the game.
Right.
Which is ultimately right. Like you want to make something that's memorable. So the fact that it's literally being remembered enough to be like, well, I want to do this thing and I want to do this thing.
Right.
It's a huge thing. I almost said thing 3 times. I would have been so mad at myself. That's a huge part of why a lot of people run the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just right. Yeah, you're right. It is a huge part because it shows that is pretty much the second like deepest level of player investment you're gonna get. The absolute deepest level of player investment you'll get is players like conjuring up bits of the world themselves, right? And like making decisions about lore and shit themselves. Is probably the
my
deepest.
Shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of GMs chase that high because it's pretty rare for a player to feel comfortable enough to be like, what about this? And just kind of throw that shit out there. And also I think this is changing with more modern tabletop games, but definitely in the past, games did not encourage that behavior. although they didn't necessarily discourage it, they just didn't think about it, right? Like they just, back in the day, they just assumed GM comes up with everything and that's just how that works. But I think nowadays the idea that a player gets to like influence the lore and everything that's going on and like add to the world building is much more common. You know, I mean, shit, some games give you an in-game mechanical like currency to utilize for that purpose, a la the Force die in Star Wars lets you just declare shit and be like, this actually happened, GM, which is kind of on a like a smaller level, but I just had an interesting thought. a game with a Force die style mechanic, but instead of simply being like I declare something to be true in the moment, or I declare like a convenience in the moment, it's like it's a step further and lets you declare something about the setting. Like it's
that would be cool. Like
a mechanic for it.
That would be really interesting. I do like that. D&D says that that's something that it does because like it's got the hero points, which is like you just state that there's a trap door in the dungeon and the DM's got to figure that out, and you're like, why?
Yeah, that's not even. I'm talking like spend a point of inspiration to declare that like all red dragons are weak to lightning. That kind of level of like
that would be
bing
very
bang,
interesting,
right? Like yeah. I don't know it. As I'm saying it and thinking about it, I'm like, whew, I don't know how you do this exactly, but it'd be intriguing, if nothing else.
I would definitely like to see a game at least try to pull it off.
That's the thing, right? Try to pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, when it's something that complicated, it really do just be like A for effort. Because at least if you've got a foundation, someone else could figure it out, maybe fine tune it.
True. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have a good transition here, but I think we've hit all the points that I was planning on hitting.
Yeah, I think today was pretty
Shalom.
Productive, say for our internet shit in the bed 2 whole times.
Yeah, but that's not our fault.
True. Very true.
So, fuck you, Optimum.
Yeah, fuck you, Optimum.
You got any ringers you want to close out with?
No, I don't. I think we covered basically all of it. I think a big part of what makes side quests interesting is that it I mean, this is simple, right? Like we basically said this without saying it. A good way to make side quests interesting and feel like less of a bullshit hassle is to tie it back to the main story, right? If there has and this is like the payoff that I was telling you, like the incentive, this can be part of that. If it's like, oh, well, doing this side quest will give us more allies for the big final fight, or maybe it'll make the like, you know, kill God check at the end of the game easier, a la what they did with like Vecna with the
I was about to say critical
giant
role.
stakes.
Yeah. Yep.
If there's a payoff, and you know, this also leads into the like, you don't always need immediate dividends kind of thing, like a la with Ford and the like Starforge sword thing he does at the end of his game. That was like Matt dropping a sword handle of a broken sword session like, I don't know, 20, and then it paid off in session like 80 or something. Like, make it feel connected, right? Very rarely do things exist in a vacuum, right? Like, the thing that you do in this moment will almost always have a knock-on effect in the future, whether you know it or not, and whether it seems relevant at the time. Like, it could happen and you just don't know, but there will be a side effect.
Right. Yeah.
So play into that. Like, and if you're like, oh, well, that's like, I don't know, that seems like weirdly coincidental and, you know, it feels kind of like phoned in or whatever you have it. That's literally all of fiction. All of fiction does this.
Yeah, I mean,
that the whole point of your story is that your characters are the special boys and special gals and special they thems that do the cool thing, and it shit just happens to fall into place for them. It just happens. Don't fight it. Just don't make it seem dumb.
Yeah, well, things are gonna coinkadinkly happen because that's the nature of a story in fiction. Also, if you want to get really deep about it, that is also the nature of how people do well in real life. But we're not going to get into that right now because that's philosophy. But anyway, it's a thing in a story. Like, things happen and fall into place in helpful and convenient ways. You know, success is luck meets opportunity, or luck meets... What's the phrase? What's the saying? Success is luck meets preparedness or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
The trick is just to not make it feel bullshitty. Like, it needs to sit with the consistent logic of the world you have established. And as long as it's within that logic... Look, I've said this before in regards to probably a bunch of things. If you're within the consistent logic, if you are adhering to the verisimilitude, and again, because I know I say this word a lot, verisimilitude is the feeling of trueness. It is not objective truth, but it is the feeling of trueness. If you're, as long as what you're doing as a GM buys into the verisimilitude and obeys the internal logic, you can do all sorts of shit that players will let you get away with. Like, even things that would feel bullshitty otherwise, if they really make sense and there's a consistency and a logic they follow, you can get away with a lot. You know, like the example I often give is like, oh, well, players get mad if you take magic items away. And I say, okay, what if the players are fighting a bunch of rust monsters and I specifically inform them through maybe an NPC or something they find written on the wall, or maybe they find a bunch of broken magic swords around. I tell them there's a queen rust monster that can eat magic items, and this is like an established thing in the fiction. The players go, okay, we need to pay attention to that. They will not be mad if it eats their sword, because that follows the consistency. They might be annoyed and sad, but like, they can't get mad at you. It's sort of fair game. The side quest thing is much the same. If you follow that internal consistency and you do, nobody looked at the scene in Endgame when everyone from all the movies came back. Very few characters in that scene did it not make sense for them to be there, because up until that point, there was the internal consistency that all of the superheroes were being informed. Hey, this big bad evil guy's coming to destroy the world, and if he destroys the world, that means you also die, and like, that's kind of shitty. So maybe you should help us out. Like, you weren't questioning when everyone comes through the portals at the end of Endgame, why is Wong there? Because Wong also knows who Thanos is, and he knows it's a problem, It's like, if you do the thing where the side quest is like collecting allies, and then all the allies showing up for the big final fight, your players are going to be like, yeah, of course. It's perfect. You also, like, because Isaiah, you were like, oh, make it tie back in, right? You could also make something tie back in even if you didn't necessarily plan on it originally, if you just figure something out in the background, like...
True. Hey, retroactive tie-ins are a hell of a drug.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, Farmer Jim and his daughter weren't gonna be important, but what if his daughter's actually has some oracle powers, and so she knew the PCs needed help, and now she's present. Hey, wait, what's up? Like... It work. It be like that sometimes. So if you ever, basically what I'm saying is sometimes gaslight your players on purpose.
Gaslight GateKeep Girl Boss.
Yeah, because imagine, right? You do a side quest and your players are really annoyed about it, and then 5 sessions down the road, the character from that side quest comes back and helps them. Suddenly, your players are less annoyed.
That's what. Hey, I did say that, right? Like the retroactive, I mean. Make you feel better about it.
Yeah. So gaslight your players and just say, no, I had that plan the whole time. Just, if they ask you, was Farmer Brown's daughter supposed to be an oracle the entire time? You say yes, absolutely. And you say it with your whole ass chest.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the message for this episode. Gaslight your players.
I mean... I suppose I am on recording saying that, so I guess that's where we're at.
Yes, you are.
for legal reasons. Don't actually do that.
Yeah. Morally, don't gaslight your players.
Do say it with your whole ass chest, though.
Yeah.
Do say it.
We are legally obligated to say don't gaslight people. That's wrong, but also gaslight the shit out of your players. It's funny.
Gaslight. Gamekeep girl boss.
Hell yeah. I want that shirt so bad.
Fair. If you enjoyed these ramblings, perhaps give us a follow on Twitter and tell a friend. Tell a friend about us. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Good night.
Peace.
So long. I don't know, whatever they usually say when they close out late night shows.
Like, share, subscribe.
No, they don't say that on late night shows.
I don't know. I've stopped watching TV so long ago. I hardly remember what it's like.
Same. All right, for realsies. Get lost.